So, live. Good. Hello. I am making a new shirt. Let me show me, because I can talk to this for a bit. Okay, good. I'm making a shirt. I'm making a shirt mostly from this pattern. And I know that this is going to work because I'm wearing it. I've already made one from this pattern and it fits well, so that's good. But this one has this kind of collar, which is just a normal, like fairly close collar. You know, you get very broad spread collars on modern shirts. This one's a bit more classic. It's a bit more sort of pointing down. But I designed my own collar piece, which I've mocked up here, which is based on a spear point collar, which is a bit more of a 1940s thing. So if I put this on, obviously over an existing collar, which is a bit amateurish, but so the left one would be over the right one because the button is on the right. If I hold that in place, you can see that this collar is much longer and flappier, and if anything, sort of points. It's hard to do this because the image I'm looking at isn't reflected like a mirror. Okay, there we go. I hold it like that. This is an even more sort of severe vertical drop collar than that one, and definitely a lot longer. So that's the plan. Let's tidy my tie up a bit. Good. And I've got the fabric as well. So I'll just check what's going on. Okay, good. I have got two types of fabric, both of which I'm going to use both of these for making this shirt. I'm obviously only going to do one now. This is quite a close stripe there, alternating red and blue sort of candy stripes, and this one wider stripe, red, blue, and purple, or red, blue and orange, depending on which of the two reddish stripes you want to believe is red. So there we go. I am going to do the narrower stripe, I think, to start. So I have already cut out all of my pattern pieces, so I've cut them out. I traced over the original patterns and cut them out of new stuff. Somewhere deep in the depths of this, I tend to not throw much away. So in the bottom of this bag, we've got, you know, this is the same fabric this one is made out of, just spare. So I've got all my fabric pieces, my pattern pieces, and in the instructions here will be the lay guide, and this will tell me how I'm supposed to like basically put the pieces of pattern on the floor. Here you can see that. Probably easier to see if I block out the light from behind. I am making the size 46, which is down here, which means that I get to do half of it on the fold, and then the other half I have to open the fabric out and put the pieces down flat one at a time, just because of the space of doing this with fabric. So I'm going to go over to the floor with my fabric, with my pattern pieces, with my lay plan, and I should probably go and get some pins as well. So I have some pins down here. Hello, I'm now around here. I've got no idea how well I can be seen from that. You know, let me know in the chat how that's working. Of course, I also don't take the chat with me, so I don't actually know what you can see either. I'll check back in on chat every now and then. Okay, so this goes out. looks fairly strongly in need of ironing. This is the shipping note for that fabric, I expect. Yep. We won't be needing that. And this is not folded in half, so the first thing I'm going to do is unfold it completely. And fold it back up in half. Actually looks quite a lot like it could benefit from an iron before I get started. So we're going to get even more yak shave here while I go and get the iron and start on that. My guess is if I set the iron up here, then nothing can be seen particularly well. So what I'll do is I'll move that onto the ironing board. This is all very seat of the pants stuff. I want to give the impression that I know what I'm doing, but in fact what's likely to happen is after a few more episodes of this stream I will know what I'm doing, and right now it's all up in the air. So I'm just going to wait for the iron to warm up a bit. Check if anyone is in the chat. They are not. If you do turn up in chat, pop in and say hi. Obviously, like, you won't have heard that because you're not there, we know that. Right, that is probably quite warm now. I see a user in the chat. Hello, Graphmail. Let's get flattening some fabric. Move this back slightly so it's not actually on the ironing surface. And what I'm going to try and do is line up what's called the salvage, which is the made edge on both sides of this fabric. So the fabric is woven across this way, and these edges are sort of folded in so that they are neat. I'm going to fold them together so that my fabric is exactly at half width when it gets ironed. This has been sat in a cupboard for some months because I've been working on a different project. Well, not that long actually. I probably got it around December time, but it's just been sat in a bag waiting to be used, so it's a bit creasy. Probably some epically atmospheric clouds of steam going up because I put the iron next to the phone every time I put it down. A little bit of inside baseball. This is an iPhone camera, That is a web camera, and then the one that's probably facing a very bright light. Whoops! The one that's facing a very bright light is the laptop. Now, because I have a load of streaming equipment in the way, which is not a problem for many sewists, I will rotate my work by pi over 2 radians or 90 degrees and go the wrong way across the board just to iron the rest. So we're trying to make sure we are halfway along and that the two salvages match up. So I don't really know what to chat about at this point. Often I just put music on in the background. That's not always safe when you're streaming online. I might suddenly find that Paul McCartney thinks I owe him a lot of money or something. So you get the gentle rumble of my dishwasher, but no other incidental music. Any old iron, any old iron, any old iron. It's a song about an iron, that's close enough, isn't it? I could probably do a Twitch channel that's just me ironing stuff. If you enjoy watching a grown-ass adult ironing fabric, please like and subscribe for more killer content. You probably can't subscribe, I probably don't have enough followers, so please follow, and then at some point subscription will be an option. There you go. There's an offer you can't refuse. Good. So that can go off. Get you out of the way. Put you back where you're not going to cause any damage. You can go on the floor. You out of the way as well. Not really enough space to keep the ironing board up while I'm doing everything else, so I didn't. Right, and now on with the project. That clonking noise was me accidentally hitting the microphone with my drink. Nothing if not professional. Now let's get this the right way around. This has the fold closest to me, so I'm going to put that round that way. Line that up again. we go. Oh. Right then, in theory, this doesn't look like a massive piece of fabric. I'm wondering whether I got the size right when I ordered it. It's obviously a much better idea to just have a whacking great table than a floor for this bit. Indeed, your average sort of Victorian sewing room would have over there where the window is, it would have over there where the window is, it would have like a wall-to-wall table up there, and then you would sit on the table with all of your tools, and you would get on with your stuff from up there. So that's the sleeve, that's coming later. That is the front. We need one of those. That goes up towards the fold end up there. This is the back. Sorry, that goes up towards the selvage. The back goes towards the fold because we're going to cut it on the fold. Like that. So that we've just got a single piece for the back. So that goes there. The front goes that way round up there. Oh no, there is quite a bit of that left, that's all right. So the front goes up there. And actually on this is a much wider piece of fabric than the lay guide has, so this will go much closer that way perhaps. Unless I need the space for the collar pieces, which it doesn't look like I do. And then I'll have even more space than I expected. And those are the buttons I'm going to use. They can go back in there. Now, I have two sets of collar here. So this and this. Right, yeah. Okay, these are the ones, these ones are the ones that are the same as this collar, which I don't want. And these ones, which I've labelled spear point, are the same as the collar that I want to make. So I want the number 6, which is the collar piece itself, up in here. Is that going to fit? No, I'll just budge that along a little bit. There we go. And then I want number 5, which is the collar stand, which is this one. And that goes down here. And then the sleeve placket goes alongside that. Now I've got, because this fabric is well wide, I've actually got a load of space up there. I'm starting to think that won't fit. It probably won't go there as well. So that is, I can't even see a piece marked 10 on here. Oh, that's it. That's an interfacing piece, right? I don't need that right now. That's buttonhole guide. I don't need that. That's the pocket. I'm not going to do a pocket on this one because I don't ever use them. Ah, here we go. The cuffs. I reckon I can get the cuffs out of, yeah. So I need 4 cuffs. They will go out of there and there. The placket will go there, and then I've got even less that I need to lay out of the unfolded piece later, so I think that's going to be good. Now this one, I can just go directly on to, pin directly to the fabric, because it's just going to go on the fold line. So there's basically no way to get this wrong. Famous last words. I'm going to get a dish to put the pins in, so I'm not just constantly picking them up out of the... While I'm over here, I will have a pin cushion, which will come in handy, and a tape measure. Come around here and have a quick check of the chat. No one's chatting, you don't have to. I'm doing all of the talking for everybody at the moment. So don't worry about that. Okay, well, so I've got my pin cushion, little magnetic tray, and a tape measure. Those are all useful for the next step. It's not quite visible. Let me, if I just indicate to you this over here, the Amiga CD32, and one of the other things I do on the Twitches, and friend Stephen, is streaming Amiga software development. So if that's your thing, go and check out Dos Amigans stream. Right, now the rest of these I have to make sure I measure. They've all got this there's effectively the fabric grain line on them there, this arrow, and that has to go parallel with this edge here. And the way you do that is you take your tape measure and you measure the distance from the edge of the arrow. Let's get those out of the way. From the end of the arrow to the end of the fabric, which is 12 3/4 there, and 12 1/4 there. Seems unlikely. 12 3/4. Now, this fabric is also stripy, so you can sort of abbreviate that process a bit by just making sure that the arrow is parallel with one of the stripes. And here, both ends are on one of the red candy stripes. So that's handy. You know, I imagine there's more of a market for the short video where I talk over the top and this is all B-roll than there is for actually just watching me do this. So I'm going to take advantage of the fact that these stripes are aligned and just do this on the stripe. Yep. And the collar. This collar being pointier shape than the pattern calls for is a little bit fiddly. But it's also one I'm more likely to wear, so swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Right, I'll put these pieces on and then I will cut this bit out before I go on to the last section. And yeah, there's more than enough space for the sleeve on the end, which means that everything else is going to fit because that's the biggest bit. Marvellous. One of these down here. And you know what? Making all of this stuff, making these shirts from a piece of fabric, and the fabric isn't cheap. It was, I think £15.50 for this piece, and then the same for the other piece. So that's 16 quid of materials per shirt, probably like 17, 18 by the time you add up the buttons and the bits of interfacing that I'm going to need. And then, you realise how long this is going to take. This is not going to be a complete shirt by the end of the stream. It is going to be episodic over a number of streams. You realise just like how much time goes into making a shirt. And there aren't that many opportunities for automation. You can get like industrial sewing machines. You can obviously get cheaper fabric and cheaper buttons. That's actually how you make a cheap mass market shirt, is cheaper materials but significantly cheaper labour. There is no way. You could probably get this down to like under a day of labour by being good at it. But I don't think you could get it down much below that. I don't think you could be making multiple of these a day. So if you maybe 2 a day is a push. So if you buy a £3 shirt, someone has been paid at best 75p an hour for their labour. So now I'm going to come up here and do the cutting. None of this fits on the cutting table, which I expected. So this is just going to be dragging the thing around. But I do want to switch so that you can see what's going on. So now you have a view of the cutting table. Get that out of the way, pick up my cutter wherever it's gone. Get cutting. Trying to avoid getting my fingers caught in the blade because the fabric will stain too easily. Right. That's a little bit ragged on that edge, but it's not a big problem because that's well within the seam allowance. There's going to be 3/8 inch of seam, which is centimetre or whatever. It's not going to be a big deal to have like little nicks and things out of the fabric. So I cut these bits off just so they don't get in the way. This stuff, tailors tend to keep that. They call it cabbage, and then when you need like stuffing for something, or you need some scraps of fabric, you take it out of the cabbage. So there's very little waste. rid of that a second. Just in the way. That also means that there's, you know, that idea that you can sort of nick it a bit and it doesn't matter because you're within the seam allowance. Also means you don't have to be super accurate at this, because you're not going to see the outer 3/8 of an inch or 5/8 of an inch or whatever it is that that is the seam allowance on every part. So if that line there isn't perfectly straight, no one's ever going to know. As long as the sewing machine goes straight, your clothes will have a straight line in them. Right, I think I need to do... Well, I want to do this one first. The problem is that camera slightly getting in the way. Wannabe streamer problems, eh? They didn't have this when they were singing The Wellerman. See here, this is lined up on the edge here. It kind of goes in a bit there, but then it's lined up on the edge down here. That doesn't matter, because, like, that's obviously the line of this pattern isn't right. Otherwise, the back of the fabric, the fold of the fabric would line up perfectly with the fold of that. But I know that the solution there is the solution there is just to ignore the wavy line. Oh, you can lock that open, that's good. I thought I'd got something wrong because the blade was locked open. It's meant to have this safety trigger, and I thought, maybe that's a feature. Maybe I can use that to make it easier to cut with. And yes, I can. Oh, off you come. Off you pop. Thank you. I'm going to move floor cam. That's the solution. Not in use. Apologies for anyone who gets motion sickness. Moving the camera on you. Pin has come out. That's why that's not quite level. Good. Came off perfectly. Okay, so now this bit, that line, is a continuous fold. That bit has got crumbs from curry on it. But yes, that line back there is a continuous fold. Which means that that is a continuous back piece. Doesn't look super level. I think maybe the back piece is a little puckered up here. That can be tidied up. Yes, that wasn't quite folded correctly, which means that now that I've opened it out, it has settled somewhat. I can see that the back isn't actually straight, but I know that the piece under the paper is right because I directly cut along that. So if I pin it all back together and then cut around it again, I'll have two pieces that are right. I haven't actually had that happen before, so I don't know what I got wrong or what to do to mitigate it. It's quite obviously wrong. That's how much is coming off there. So it was folded over by a good inch. That probably means that the stripe isn't going to perfectly line up either. It'll be good enough for a casual shirt. There you go. Yeah. Still a little bit of a crease in there. That looks straight. Right, we now have the problem that I can't actually see the chat, so if you are in chat, I've got no idea. I will say hello on the basis that that is friendlier. It's friendlier to say hello to an empty room than it is to ignore a room full of people. The other thing you can do, of course, if you keep the fabric you actually make the clothes out of, if you keep all this cabbage, is you make patches out of the original material. So your stuff can be mended better and it lasts longer. If it lasts longer, it's better for the environment. If it's better for the environment, you mine more Bitcoin. You don't have to trade off your ecological prowess against cryptocurrency trading, against cryptocurrency mining if you don't want to. It's just an example. Let's all go further that way. Try and get that corner off first. There we go. I've never seen a cutting board that is big enough to do a single piece of garment in one go. I don't know if they don't exist or if I'm just too poor to see absolutely epically massive cutting boards. You'll notice I didn't unpin any of the pieces after I'd cut them. I keep them pinned to the pattern pieces until I use them, because then I don't have to worry about marking up all of the notches and dots or remembering which bit is which. Until I actually use the pieces. Then I don't have to remember what all the numbers are or what all the names are. I just have to remember the pattern says number 5, so look on here for the piece that has a 5 on it. That is going to want to be held down better before I try cutting it. So a couple more pins. What did I do with my dish O pins? There you go. Oh, a few more people in chat. Hello people in chat. How's you diddling? Remember, I don't have enough followers for you to like and subscribe, but please do like and please do follow, and then we can all give up on our day jobs and make clothes for a living on Tinternet. Which doesn't seem like too bad a way to spend thing. And also apologies if you were hoping that I would be in a bath chatting on this stream. I am absolutely not. I am here in my living room. We can't all be famous. So, Graham, what topics of conversation interest you? Oh, I don't know really. I mainly just like talk to people, talk at people on the internet in the vain hope that they're listening, and talk about other people on the internet. That doesn't sound fun, Graham. No, I know. Well, it is fun. You may not find it edifying. That is up to you. Right, that's all those pieces. Then we go back to floor mode to get the rest of the pieces done. And I have got a feeling there's a much smaller piece of fabric now, but I've got the impression that I could actually do what is remaining out without unfolding it. There's some pieces where you only need to cut one. If I can get the sleeve out in one go and still have space for one of everything else, then I may well do that and save quite a bit of time. So I need a sleeve. Takes up a lot of the space. I need 2 yolks. Sleeve can go there, yolk can go there. Then I've done the cuffs, I'm not doing a pocket, so I need 1 under collar, and there's plenty of fabric left up there for that. So I'm not worried. Have my tray back. Oh, let's put you on see the floor mode, so you can actually see what I'm doing. Marvellous. Have my pins. Do this right way up, it doesn't matter, it's symmetrical. It's just a force of habit. This needs to not quite be on the back. You don't want to actually have a single yoke that folds in half in the middle. You may be able to hear the soft gurgle of my dishwasher in the background. Hope it doesn't spoil the ambiance too much. And then I'm putting these two close to the back as I can, because when I want to do this piece on its own, I unfold the fabric. I want to put it as close to the selvage as I can, so that I can see. Yeah, I mean, obviously what I'm doing here is measuring along the stripes of the fabric, but it's also useful to see that this line is parallel with that line, just as a extra reminder. An extra check that that the pattern is flat, and if I cut away from that end, not that I could fit both of those up there, but if I cut either one piece away from that end, I wouldn't have that line left. I wouldn't be able to see that. There is method to my madness, I allege. Right, that's nearly every pin I own. It's not true, I have a few more boxes of pins. It's nearly every pin that I actually got out of the pack. Never mind. That's what I thought. Back up here. switch you back to looking at the cutting table. Chop these bad boys out and then go back for the under collar, and we'll probably call that a stream. Like, all of the pieces cut out is not a bad evening's work. And then in a next episode, start sewing this thing together. Maybe when I've done this pattern a few times, I'll start doing sort of Twitch relevant content, like speed running it or something, so that'd probably make it a bit more interesting, wouldn't it? Like, 0 to, or like 2 meters of fabric to shirt in the quickest time, with no loss of life. Minimal. Let's commit to minimal loss of life, because that's probably something I could manage. Fatalities kept to acceptable levels. Actually, that thing's really sharp. I just felt that. Okay, I'm not going to commit to anything about fatalities or injuries then, turns out. My gob is writing checks that my physical prowess with a rotary cutter can't cash. Whoops. Back you go. This is better than watching that Call of Duty rubbish anyway, isn't it? Significantly less chance of a copyright strike than playing Guitar Hero. Down you go. You can still do it, my watch says. Obviously didn't see the kind of day I had and the number of calls I had. I am unlikely to do it. And that is why we talk to our friends whilst cutting clothes out on the internet, rather than having programming side projects. Good, 2 sleeves. That is redundant as well. And then I just need to switch you back while I pin out that bit of undercollar. And I only need one of these pieces, the other one can go away. upside down. I have a, and this is, you know, purely pedantry, but I try to do it, try to do each piece the right way up and the right way round with respect to the pattern pieces, just so that should there be, you know, this stripe is actually asymmetric. You may not be able to see that, but it is true. Right, autofocus, don't let me down. The fabric, the stripes have a sort of a diagonal pattern to them. You can see they go up and to the left or down and to the right on the screen. So if I got one of the pattern pieces upside down and, you know, didn't pay attention when I'm putting it together, I would have stripes that go the wrong way on some of the parts of the shirt, which would be noticeable close up. It would be something that I would be annoyed by even if nobody else saw it. Right. Cutting table. You want to see the cutting table. I mean, I don't know why, but you are there, so I'm imagining that you do. Of course I know why. It's because this is quality content. It's because this is what you've signed up with your ISP for. You thought it was all going to be cat gifs, or if you're old enough, you thought it was all going to be ASCII art pictures of cats on Usenet. And then Tailoring the Twitches came into your life, and you went, oh my god, this is what Tim Berners-Lee had in mind. This is what Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn were on about. All of those defence projects, all of those startups, all of that venture capital money, all led to this moment. It all led to me watching a grown-ass man with a pizza slice nearly free? Nearly free. So you go away. You are the undercollar. Now check. I'm going to come back over here for that. Hello people on the internet, I'm back over here. So I have done back, 2 fronts, 2 collar stands, 2 sleeve plackets, 2 collars, 1 undercollar, 4 cuffs, 2 sleeves, 2 yokes. I'm not doing the pocket. I'm done! Woohoo! Okay, I'm going to call it there. That was the stream. I will do this again. There is no fixed schedule on this channel. I do it when I have time and when I set up all of the hardware, you know, with all of these different cameras and everything. So there will be another episode. There will be more of this shirt getting made. Stay tuned. Please do like the channel, subscribe to the channel so you find out when that's coming up. Thank you very much. I will see you again soon.